dinner tonight. My house is always a mystery. Yeah,
Unless you're the one who cooked it.
yeah, so what?
That thing we lie.
When I open the freezer, it's,
Oh.
there's only so many
No, I
places to
figured it out.
pull out of the box. Because I never know how many people are gonna be there. Thank you.
That's what I wanted.
No, I asked Christian and Paige if they had printed off their last week before. Because it's so much easier to write it all on the table.
Yeah, it is.
Go over it. Oh, yeah,
Okay, I have 6 o'clock. We will call the meeting to order. Please rise to the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Christina, you have to roll.
Yep.
And we need to move on to approving tonight's agenda.
To approve tonight's agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have anyone for the Blackduck Forum this evening?
You had one person that called me and stated he was going to show up, but he's not on time, so that would be Matt Mency. I think that's his name. He's the gentleman that's running against Greg Gosvick. He asked to attend our meeting tonight. I told him he's welcome to, and he could introduce himself at the forum, but unfortunately,
If
he's
the,
not here yet. So
I'm sorry, he's running for what?
he's running for District 4 Commissioner seat against Craig Gosvick.
Oh.
So maybe he'll still show up and you guys can meet him afterwards, if that's the case.
okay. You can remove it. That's to you, Christina.
So I'm not gonna go into too much detail on the 2 minutes that I've placed underneath my report, just because I wanted to make sure with Lori not being here, that she at least got the insight of what has happened and transpired from the meeting since Monday, plus our finance committee meeting, obviously, for the rest of the council that was not there. Those don't need approval. I'll have them in your October 10th meeting packet to approve at that point. So if I can just move down to item C. So our finance committee met on Thursday, and basically our results were we need to make a recommendation to the board as to what we find to be the most beneficial preliminary levy for the city. we settled on option D. In a highlight that increases the property tax proposal up to 318,564 from what was originally presented in this report last Monday. That's an increase of $10,000. The local government aid still remains at 290, 392, and the contribution from the liquor store transfer is, I'm still recommending to continue at 50,000. As I stated last week, the license center revenue is estimated to bring in about $10,000. That will offset some of the liquor store transfer, as well as some of this increase. And then again, we're going to make a final transfer of 15,000 to the general fund from our ARP funding to cover administration. This is allowed, and it will also still give our wastewater department enough funding to do what was planned earlier this summer. Oops, wrong way, sorry. Expenditures, this page goes over payroll and benefits. There's been no change to these highlights since Monday. So unless anybody had any detailed questions since Monday, I'm not going to really go over this too much in detail.
I have no questions. Lori, are you?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. And then this slide goes over the details of the fire, police, street lighting, and library proposed budgets. Just the big highlights, as I stated last Monday, excuse me, noting that overall increase to the library budget of 10,000. Now that we know what the county is doing, I can safely say that adding that 10,000 in there will really help us do that sale and acquisition next year, if that ends up being the case. So I'm recommending that we move forward with that. Moving down to the streets, parks, and administration and the license center budgets. The only thing that's changed on this from last Monday is one of the reasons the finance committee is recommending option D is we have some funding that's for some street materials that, although this is where we originally planned that money to go of option D, we discussed the importance of being able to fund our FEMA damage report up front before it gets reimbursed. Most of that is payroll, but a good portion of that is materials. When the majority of all the gravel roads that we have had, serious erosion. So we feel as though that's a good recommendation and a good reason to add that into that department's funds. And then basically what I did here is I just provided a summary again of the debt. And I'm only comparing option D to option A because in our discussion, option D is the one that we highly recommend. Option A would be the next one, but we strongly feel as though having option D is going to benefit the city in its entirety. And then I provided you the sales tax scenarios. As I stated last Monday, although this is an increase to the levy on a percentage-based standpoint, it's really important for the city to understand that because our net tax capacity has increased considerable amount over last year. You guys.
Feeling your pain.
Yeah, I know. I mean, currently, right now, our net tax capacity for 22 is 344,156. It's now $407,000. So on average, in the last 4 years, the net tax capacity has been gaining $30,000 every year. But because of all the estimated market value and the taxable market value has gone up, so is the net tax capacity as well. So what that does is that provides the taxpayers, more money for it to be spread out further. And in lieu of that, decreasing what the actual tax is to the individual taxpayer compared to this year. And actually, it'd be basically 2021 version. So what we're recommending is that the council move to approve option D in your resolution tonight, which is a total tax levy of $373,941.85. Basically, I have to round it up to the county, so it's $373,942. I just remind the council that motion, second discussion. And unless anybody has any deed code questions about this. That's all I have to say. At this point, next.
Well, we've had a week to look it over. Does anybody want to make a motion to pass?
A motion to pass 2021 resolution approving proposed 2022 tax levy collectible in 2023.
Yeah, but I need the dollar amount. I did not fill it in, you guys, because no one
sorry.
could settle on a decision last week. So our recommendation would be option D. Yeah, Lori, if you're gonna move forward with that in your motion, I would appreciate
this.
the $373,942 amount. It's
Correct.
total.
Oh,
because it
the
includes-
smallest one.
because it includes the debt.
Okay,
So your motion would read that you approve resolution 2022-21, resolution approving proposed tax levy collectible in 2023 for a total of $373,942.
well, 42, okay,
Correct. And it,
to get around it. Okay,
yep,
so motion to approve 2022-21 resolution approving the proposed 2022 tax levy collectible in 2023 for the amount of $373,942.
We have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
Uphill to swallow.
Okay,
I'd like to see something more conservative.
Party streets, everything needs a lot of work around here. I think it's the best thing for our town right now, especially with possibility of our library, our streets. I mean, do you know what Michael's budget is every year for?
Right.
It's bad.
When I looked at that, what I thought too, of this, sometimes you have to bite it.
And even for the stuff from the FEMA, we either gonna have to beg, borrow, or steal to get the money. Well, this way it's there and we can get it and we'll get reimbursed. And then that reimbursement will go back to the streets and the department.
so we can cut them next year.
No, that's not a purpose.
We all know how the game works. I'm just pointing out that I understand where Ron's coming from and,
Sure, nobody likes to see how you
look. Not when it's like that. The idea of option, I guess, A. If we're going to throw out C and B. I've never liked the line of, let's approve the big budget and then if we have to, we can cut it. Because very rarely do things come back down.
well, we were able to do it last year.
And that was a one-time thing with art funding that,
Right.
you know, I'm just saying that the lower percentage rate, you know, do we have wiggle room for next year? Approve option D.
It will be difficult to predict.
I don't have a crystal ball.
Right. We are gonna need to recoup some of our funding anyway, because we've got, you know, exorbitant gas prices and fuel prices and insurance has skyrocketed. That is difficult to swallow. That is not something you can really predict very well on a 6-month out time frame. When we approved the budget that we're in right now for 22, gas prices were $2, $2.50. And fuel propane was under $2. So we all know residentially, commercially, citywide, that utilities have gone up. I mean, it's like that for electricity too, and so everyone is feeling the pinch. I think the county's tax levy was still almost 7%. That they ended up approving when they included the full funding of the library. Full ask from KRLS, so, you know, we're moving forward with some good support on that level, and I just want to make sure that if the council hasn't been paying attention to what happens outside the municipal boundary, but at the county level, we share an exorbitant amount of, you know, responsibility with them, and they understand it. When you do call for a roll, Max, I'd like a roll call vote. Not, I'm trying to push it. I'm just saying.
Okay. You've heard the Christina's opinion. You've been doing it a while. Dawn, do you have an opinion on this?
I stated that last week. That I didn't like the D.
Can I speak from the audience or not?
Technically,
No.
no.
I'm just an accountant, so that's why I was gonna put that part in.
Is there a particular reason you want us to know? I mean, other than, yeah, the bottom line.
Pretty much the bottom line.
Okay.
I went through all this paperwork that I got printed off.
What do you feel the best option is?
I'm kind of going A.
But as Nick stated, be able to do something bigger for the community too, that extra 10,000 to put into the library. The extra streets to get things done now. And be reimbursed. Yes, when it all comes down to, you know, I know we all have to go back out there and you got to go to the grocery store and you're going to have to listen to, you guys don't know what you're doing. You raise our taxes every year. This is ridiculous. We pay the most in the country. And you got to have kind of thick skin about it too.
Invite them to come.
It's,
That's what I do. I just say, you're more than welcome to come to any meeting you want.
there's also things people don't always take into consideration. You brought it up last year, Lori, with your property tax refund, things that
To offset that, yeah.
help offset things. There are other ways around it.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not how I wanted to see the taxes come down by raising the value of everything around us, but.
You had fixed increases in cost that you can't change. By the looks of this, looks like your insurance went up and, I mean, those are things that they're there no matter what.
And
So-
what you missed on Monday, Lori, was those fixed increases that I've calculated into the budgets are on the lower side of the range that the league has provided us to budget for.
That could be.
It could be,
part of the
I
plan.
think, workers' comp for the police department could have gone anywhere from 10 to 15%.
Mhm.
And you put it down.
I put the bottom.
Yeah.
Just because I've watched the trend,
Mhm.
yeah.
We're falling into kind of it's still. No, the mill rate's not great, it's in the 90s, but it's not. As high as it was, either. It's a chance to do something now. Now, by approving the extra few $1,000s for Mike's street budget. No, that's not gonna fix all the streets in town. Don't let anybody. Begin to think that that's. It's not even something we can hold over and try to. Keep going for another year. No, it's a one and done. But. Does anybody have anything else they want to say about it?
I have one question, and I don't know if I got elaboration on that. Don, you said that you would rather see A, D, you were not in favor of. Was there anything, since you grabbed the hard copies of anything that you saw that you would suggest you change?
Yeah, not a big, not really in favor of this library thing, because we really don't even know where it's going.
Noted.
So. We're putting tax burden on people in this town that can't afford to go on a whim. Because who knows if you're even gonna sell the other building, if you're even gonna be able to buy this building, putting $10,000 out there for just to sit there. I
Well, I think in the previous conversations that the council has had, especially when Miriam's been present, that funding, regardless of what we do with the KRLS funding, we are understanding that the existing facility does not serve the need of the community now, regardless if we, as a city, don't move forward with the new facility acquisition. The existing facility is going to need improvements. So regardless of that $10,000 going for sales and acquisition fees, it could end up going for improvements plus the KRLS funding as well. So I wouldn't be too nearsighted on the comments of the library not moving forward unless you don't want to put any money into the library at all.
That's okay. I'm not saying not put money into the library. Okay, we have a building, so if we do not move forward with this new building. We're gonna take that money and put into the old building, then we're still gonna have to go after the funding. If and when the new building comes up. If that ever happens. Which I hope, I kind of hope it does happen, but I'm kind of holding back on.
Can you clarify for me what you mean when you say if and when the new building comes up?
If this building, if they're gonna be able to buy this building,
We've already gone over all that. We've
think-
already got dollar amounts and everything.
Right, but there's also some contingency on inspection, right?
And the purchase agreement hasn't been filed.
Right, I think that's maybe what he's talking
Probably
about.
what Don is.
Yeah.
To me,
yeah, so there's things that. That couldn't be, there's things that maybe not even be in our way, but there could be things that are our way.
yes, and I think what Christina was saying is that. Should that building, if we not purchase that building, we would still need to upgrade, enlarge the current building, which would take those funds that are in this proposed budget.
I heard that.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're all understanding. And I think we kind of looked at that first before the building and found out the materials were really high at that point. So,
So there's a back plan.
yeah, there's a plan B.
If that is truly the board's wish to move forward one way or the other. Instead of, if the acquisition doesn't happen, do we just stay stagnant? I believe the feedback from that one meeting was no.
No. That's what I understand as well.
And let's face it. Since the county's decisions in the last month were so back and forth about their support, that has created a huge microscope to our facility and what this city wants to do for its community, and not just the taxpayers, everybody. So
From Waskish and Collier down to.
Hines, Summit, Langer, 10 Strike, you name it. I'm a Hines Township resident and I pay into that county tax for our library and I don't live here. So I pay for it too, right? Miriam? We pay for it. I want to see it progress as well. And if, you know, the public wants to see it happen and knows that the library is important to the community, that was duly expressed in several public meetings.
And I've been the staunch supporter of, there's a lot more going on in the library than just the books.
Just like our last meeting.
Yep.
From greater Bemidji, possibilities are pretty big.
And if you're gonna have their funding, they're gonna need space. You're gonna have an influx of people coming in the next few years. It's almost a guarantee, and if we're not ready, then it's gonna pass us up.
I no disrespect out of Don, because his cautionary reservations are very warranted, because I felt it too.
I'll ask one more time if anybody has anything else they want to discuss on this, otherwise I will call for a roll call. Vote on this motion.
I don't think I've done a roll call before. What do we?
I will go down the line and end with Max, and you just say yay or nay to the vote of your motion.
All right.
See no further discussion. Christina, would you take the roll, please?
Counselor Hamilton? Yay. Counselor Johnson?
Nay.
Counselor Frederickson?
Nay.
Counselor Sykes?
Yay.
Mayor Goulet?
Aye.
Your motion passes 3-2.
Good. And with that, I do not see our guest that was supposed to be here for the forum. I'll call for I will make a motion to adjourn.
I can.
All in favor?
uh,
Aye. Opposed? You're adjourned.
Must not be very popular, I guess, don't show.
Yeah.
No, it's
$15,000 mortgage forgiven last time.
I couldn't.
It was
Hold on a second.
stigma. You know, you